daytime. It looks like we're good to go whenever you are.
Okay, cool. Just tell me when, I guess.
Sure, you want me to give you a quick countdown?
Yeah.
All right, great. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, cool. Alright, so this is Hotline Miami. Hotline Miami is a game from 2012, top-down action shooter. Everyone already knows what this game is. So yeah, in this game, there isn't very many glitches as we're doing the New Game Plus All Levels category. This is the most popular category. Basically what it means is that we get to see every screen in the game, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually only like about 3 to 4 minutes slower than the any percent time. Basically the only major difference in terms of speed is that we can't quit out after every level, and there's a couple level skips that we can't do. That being said, so since the donation incentive was met, I'm running with the Richard mask, which means that I have no special abilities. Because usually you'd be playing through New Game Plus levels with Tony or Brandon. Tony gives you lethal fists, which means that you kill anyone you punch instantly, and you have instant execution times. Or you can be playing with Brandon, which makes you move at 134% speed, which just makes playing through the game that much easier and that much faster. But since we're using Richard, I have to play through the game with nothing at all. So it's technically like the hardest way to play the game if you're just doing masks and nothing else. It's really not that much of a difference, but you just have to play through the game in a much more methodical way. And as you see, there's a lot of little things that go on through each level. When you're, because with Hotline Miami, the AI is very fickle. You have to try and bait them into doing everything you want them to do. And so, like, there are little movements that you have to do just to get them to react in specific ways often. Also, a lot of times enemies are you generally have like a reaction time for a lot of the enemies, like specific AI tend to react in generic ways. So we exploit that. Like that guy that right there that was running after me generally reacts to a few bullet shots. Sometimes he doesn't, which is really annoying that you have to go all the way over there and it wastes a little bit of time. But in general, it's not that big a deal. Also, as you notice, when I'm going through, this is a really minor thing, but every time you go through a load screen, like a transition, if you go in right arm first, you save 1 frame. It's actually a thing. It's kind of weird. There we go. Also, as you can tell, it's quite easy to die. It happens really fast. But it's really no big deal because you restart so fast. Also right here, these yellow walls are the only walls in the game where you can shoot through them. And these yellow walls only really appear in that level. They weren't really used throughout the rest of the game, which is disappointing, because it makes that level really interesting. And also with these cars, they always appear left, down, right, from where you are, for the first 4 chapters. Very minor thing, but of course you just want to get into the car first, because normally if you're playing through the game normally you would just go into those buildings and then there's a bit of dialogue and whatnot, but since we don't care about that, we can just go right over to finishing it instantly. Also, as you notice, there's a lot of times where I go to pick up a specific weapon for the next screen, just because in certain cases it just makes it so much faster to have like a given weapon. Like if I have an assault rifle on this floor, it just makes it so much faster. And then on other floors, if you just have a shotgun, like also on this next floor, I'm looking for a shotgun. Okay, we're good, because this guy can only die to being shot twice with a shotgun. And if I don't have that, I just have to rely on getting lucky or making my way all the way up here, and that's really not consistent. Also, to make it a valid run, you must spin your girlfriend, your future girlfriend. So yeah, that's part one. Really, the first part is generally not really that difficult. Decadence can be a bit of a pain, but coming up we're going to be seeing Tension, which Tension 1, with the first screen of Tension, is probably the worst screen in the entire game. It's because it's super RNG based. It's like really inconsistent. There's like half the enemies are random, and there's just like a lot of sight lines that are just really kind of wonky in general. And again, since we don't have Tony or Brandon, we can't really exploit this level that much. I can't do generic strats that you generally play as. Also, as you can see, sometimes AI don't really move in logical ways. Like, they'll just clip through the door, as you saw the dog just did just a second ago. That happens quite a lot in this game. The biggest thing you gotta know if you ever run this game is the fact that the AI is just completely inconsistent. Ugh. And that's about it. Cool. Yeah, Tension, second floor is not that big a deal. It's actually pretty nice. But the first floor, this is just really not that great. Also, minor thing, these text screens that appear right here, actually you could reduce the number of them and that would reduce the time. But in general, it's not worth it to care about that. Seeing as even all the world records currently aren't like anywhere close to being optimized enough where that really matters. That being said, there is one level called Hot and Heavy later, which could actually save a few seconds if you play it in a more specific way, just because it's a very long level, so you can get quite a lot of text screens, and that can actually add up to multiple seconds of time loss. Even if you complete the level faster, you could actually end it later because of that. This weapon right here is a crowbar, and it's actually only used on this level, but it has the best like cooldown time of any weapon. It just works better than any other melee weapon. So whenever you get the chance, you gotta use it. I don't know how he reacted that fast. Oh yeah, speaking of randomness in this game, so enemy reaction times and also bullet spread and a lot of enemy placement and quite a lot of other things are all random. This game has a lot of randomness, but generally you can exploit that to your advantage. But a lot of times you also just out of nowhere, the enemies will react instantly, and other times they'll just never react. There is no consistency in terms of the reaction times. You just have to kind of get a feel for how they generally react to specific situations, but you can't really ever tell, usually. You just gotta like design your strats around them just being able to instantly kill you. So that's why you see us peeking corners and whatnot. And of course that only applies to gun enemies, though a lot of the melee enemies will kill you before you think they can, so you gotta be careful with them. As you can probably tell, a lot of these strats are just based off of moving as little as possible. Alright, so on this floor we want to, this is a strat where we use the hostage strat. It's not a very used mechanic in the game, but it allows us, if with specific weapons you can, as you saw, pick up another AI and just have him as like a bullet shield, and it makes us move at 136% speed or something like that, just a bit faster than Brandon. Oh, come on, guy. There we go. Okay, cool. And that allows us to do that really that's like one of the most consistent strats in the entire game. And then the second floor is also really cool. The assault rifle strat I was doing is actually really hard to execute. It doesn't look like it, but it's pretty difficult. Also, if you have not noticed, every time we go to text screens, I'm always holding down right click and then spamming left click. That's because in Hotline, if you're holding down right click after I think it's about like 2 seconds, it'll automatically skip the text. But if it's less than that, then if we just spam left click, we'll get out of it faster. So instead of even caring about like which text screen we're on, we just do the same thing every time. And then there's one instance where the text screens just don't skip, so you have to just spam through all of it yourself, and it's really annoying. Right now, where'd that knife go? There we go, cool. If I go to the next screen without the knife, it just makes it so much harder and a lot slower. That's the thing about when you're playing like a mass besides Tony, you get to juggle around having guns and also melee weapons. That's a little bit less of an issue when you're playing Brandon, because since he moves so much faster, then you can just like run at enemies, or you can get to places where another weapon is, whereas since we're playing Richard, we're going so slow and we have nothing to ourselves, it just makes it a lot more difficult to balance the melees and everything. And also a lot of times, as you probably saw there, the weapons kind of get stuck in the wall a little bit, like in terms of their graphics. You can still pick them up, but it makes it hard to see. And also they can get stuck underneath like tables and everything. And also, so this boss is basically the first actual boss. He kind of moves in a really weird way, but if you play him a lot, you start to get the feel of how to like control him. And yeah, it's pretty easy. Also, I just duplicated that golf club because they just decided to give you golf club even if you don't have it right there. There is a warp that we found there where you can warp right from executing him to the top left later, the top elevator, and that saves about like 9 seconds or more. The only issue is that we don't have a consistent way of doing it. It seems to be like insanely precise, and we have yet to find like a good setup. We found a setup for attempting it, but like if you try it, it either soft locks you or you just go through with it. But you more often than not soft locked, which is the issue. Now see, with Push It, this first war, there's quite a lot of different ways to go about it, just because you start in the center, whereas a lot of other levels you start to the left or to the right or whatever. So it doesn't seem like much, but it means that you can play through this level in quite a lot of different ways. I like to do this strat just because it's a bit more consistent. And I don't usually play with Richard, so I'm not as used to dealing with the melee. I generally play with Tony or Brandon, which makes a lot of these strats just a lot more different. In general, it just makes the game a bit easier, and it just makes the game go by faster. Ooh, I don't know how I didn't die there. Okay. Does that have ammo? Yes, okay, cool. Also, sometimes for no reason, even though you should be close enough, for some reason executions don't start. So that's when you press space over top of an enemy to kill them. And for some reason, the hit radius on those are just kind of weird. And also, there's also minor cooldowns. Like once you drop a weapon, you can't pick up another one. Like if you just swung a weapon, it gives you a weird like cooldown before you can do anything else, even if you throw the weapon. That applies to any of the melee weapons after you swing them. but it's more noticeable with like weapons like the baseball bat and the pipe versus like a knife, because a knife's attack interval is so much lower. Alright, come on. And there you go. Cool. That wasn't that bad. I'm hoping I'm not going to go overtime or barely overtime. It's kind of difficult to get sub 30 with Richard, but should manage, hopefully. This screen is really difficult, especially with Richard. And as you can probably tell, we don't have to kill every enemy in the game in this level, and we're good. We just have to kill, I think it's around like 10 or so. So we can leave a few of them and just focus on being right at the end. That's the only level in the game where we don't have to kill everyone to proceed to the next screen. That's weird. Okay. So Hot and Heavy is usually considered one of the hardest levels for new players, but in reality it's actually like one of the easier ones to speedrun. Like, that being said, it is really difficult, like especially for newer runners, but after you have quite a lot of time in it. Also, you just noticed that shotgun guy just killed me in about like a couple frames. It's really nice when that happens. I very much appreciate it. I also like when the guy on the top right is reacting faster than usual. That's also quite optimal. This is going great. That's the first floor is like actually the only issue with this level. If you're not Tony, it just makes it like a real pain. Alright, we're good. Just because that guy in the top right is just a real pain. Because he just reacts in very annoying ways. And it's super cycle based, and if you don't get there exactly right, then he'll just shoot you before you can do anything. Also, that guy should not be going that far away, but whatever. That's what's supposed to happen. Now I just want to grab an assault rifle for this next screen, and then yeah, we're good. If I don't, then it just makes this next screen a lot more painful and slow. I mean, it is easier if you just do a certain melee strat, but it's just so much slower. Oh, come on, dude. Oh, come on. Oh, he's gonna shoot me. Oh, come on. How did none of those pellets hit him? Okay. Whatever, dude. There we go. There we go. There we go. Alright, we're good. We're good. I need melee, I need melee, I need melee. No, we're good. Okay, this is a train wreck. Yeah, that's on heavy third screen. It's like the only screen here that's really difficult with Richard. Besides that, it's really not that big a deal. This screen is pretty simple. He was inside of the melee swing, but you know. Alright, that's interesting that no one really reacted, but it doesn't really matter. Alright, cool. We're good. A lot of weird things going on. That's how you gotta play this game. The main thing that differentiates runners in this game is seeing as there's not really many glitches, even in the 90% categories. It's more about just executing perfectly. So not dying, of course, and also just having slightly better strategies and going about levels in more optimal ways. Whereas in like other games, of course, it's a lot more glitch based or whatever. It's skip space. This game is very just based off of how well you can play the game. And also adaptability, because every single run in this game plays out differently because of the randomness that's involved. It's more accentuated when you're first starting to play, but it still props up even after many hours in the game. Alright, we did not get an assault rifle, so the 6 screen will be a bit slower than usual. No big deal though. Oh, come on, dude, really? Yeah, the silenced pistol is like the least accurate weapon in the game. Okay, that was my fault. This goes by so much faster than an assault rifle. Ooh. Oh, okay. Very cool. It's really annoying because those guys in the bottom left corner will only react after like 8 to 10 shots generally. And since we have a shotgun, kind of doesn't really happen. That's the really annoying thing about weapon RNG in this game. Alright, cool. We can use a bat. Ooh, better weapon. Cool. This boss is a joke. And that's it. Really easy. It's just a massive startle when you first play the game, and then, you know, you're just walking through and then a car crashes through, because nothing like that happens. And also, if you stand in the correct place, like if you move over in a specific way, you can almost get killed every single time you respawn. Which is, yeah, there's a lot of things in this game that should be fixed that just aren't, but it's not really a big deal. Alright, so now that we finished that, we're going to go die. We're going to get shot in the face by a dude. Hello. And then we're dead. And now we're in hospital clothes, and now our head explodes. And that's us in the bed. So this is what I was talking about when I said that we can't skip the text. So right now we're going to have to just spam. Okay, cool. So this is trauma. It's probably the worst level in the game, just because it doesn't make sense. It's an arbitrary stealth section in this game, which doesn't make any sense why there is one. And your movement is a bit weird, and you can, like, if you move too much in a given amount of time, then you get a migraine and it makes you stay still. But it's also by far the easiest thing in the game. As you can see, we're just about done, because these cycles are really predictable, which is nice. Yeah, so the movement is really weird, but you kind of get used to it. And also, because all the cycles are global, it makes it actually insanely easy to get through this. And also, the global timers start once you are finished doing the text skipping, so you don't have to worry about doing it slow or fast on changing the timers. They start once you spawn as like a movable character, which is really nice. So that's like really consistent. So if you mess it up, it's just all on you. It's not really the game, honestly. And also, certain AI in there, you can like walk like through about like a half of their body before they even see you, if they're facing away from you, which is really interesting and also kind of weird. But yeah, the field of vision for those guys is really wonky. Alright, so you wouldn't really notice, but me standing behind this table actually breaks their line of sight, and they actually won't be able to see me until that they stop moving. So if I'm just standing like right here, then whatever AI is unable to see me until they stop moving. Even if I'm clearly in their field of view, then just standing behind a table just breaks that. And of course we use that to our advantage, just because anything you can do in this game too. Okay, he came a bit faster than usual. Anything we can use to our advantage, we do, of course. Alright, okay. There's one extra guy than usual there. Because usually one of the guys will run top left, but he went over, top right I mean, but he came this way, which is interesting. And this guy should be right here, gotta wait for this, and then, okay, we're good. This is the guy I was talking about. Now I have to make sure that I have this melee weapon for the next screen, because otherwise it's gonna be a real pain. And we're good, very cool. And we got really bad RNG, so let's hope that we can get through this in only a few deaths. Okay, cool. Sweet. This is a strat that's so much faster than any other. That even... Really, dude? Really, dude? Really, dude? Oh my god. This screen is not the best. I guess we can do the super slow strat. Alright, now we're just gonna have to wait for a cycle. Throw that up there, throw that over there. Let's hope he doesn't walk out. When I'm in this cutscene, he can just walk down and shoot me. So that happens every now and then, and it's really nice. It's really nice to die when you have no control over it. Happens quite a lot. Okay, cool. I knew they were coming right there, so let's just able to shoot them. Yeah, this screen is a real pain. This entire level is super RNG based, and it's really annoying. Especially since we're playing Richard again. Because like with Brandon, it makes it so much easier, and same thing with Tony. Because even though there's a lot of randomness, just your abilities to move like super fast or just kill everyone, like you always have a melee weapon on you basically, just makes it so much more of a joke. But since we don't have that, we have to deal with terrible RNG and nothing to help us with. That's basically the way you play Richard, is just you get kind of screwed over the entire time, and the game is already random. So this is kind of hard to explain, but I moved about in a very specific way that I would bait this guy, as well as getting people in the top right to react in a specific way, and that allows me to kill them all with melee. Because if I just go about it normally, I would just get shot like instantly. That's a really nice strategy that's really hard to execute actually. Like a lot of these things, they look really simplistic, but they're actually like pretty difficult to pull off. Okay. They don't die consistently, the fat guys, which is really great. They will die once you get enough shotgun pellets, or like as many pellets in them as possible. But if you just shoot them a couple times, or like a few pellets get into them, it's basically random how long they take to die. They have a cap on how long they can stay alive. But yeah, sometimes they'll die instantly, and then other times they just refuse to. Makes it a real pain. So this is, we're actually not going to go to the apartment right now. We're going to go right into the next level, which is called Showdown, which is called the final level. But spoiler alert, it's not the final level. So this is the actual boss fight of the game. This one is much more difficult than any of the other ones, because other ones are just jokes. But this one has 3 stages technically. But even still, it's pretty easy. Alright, cool, we're good. Cool. Now, fun thing, you can actually die to this bullet right there. If you're standing in the way of that bullet, you can die. Don't know why that's a thing, but it is. Showdown is really easy. I heard a gunshot, I don't know where that came from though. It's kind of weird. I guess that guy has a little bit of ketchup on his face. Yeah, so we just gotta wait for to start to fade out to black, and then once that happens, I can press escape, and then we can go on to the next chapter. Then there's 4 levels left, 2 actual action-paced levels, and then just 2 like basically walk around levels, and then we're done. So now we're going to be playing as Biker. So, unlike Jacket, who has the ability to pick up any weapon anytime, Biker has set weapons. So we have a meat cleaver and 3 throwing knives, and that's all we can ever use. Also, we move at the same speed as Graham, which is about 117% speed. So we move a bit faster, and as you can see, we have 3 throwing knives, and I missed that, but whatever, we're good. That was a really good safe house. So yeah, so basically for these levels, we optimize our throwing knives for specific AI that are easy, since they're farther away. If we can just throw a knife at them and kill them, it just makes them much faster, of course. And so now coming up is Fun Games, the second of the action-based levels. This is actually a really fun level. There's only a little bit of RNG on the first floor, but on the second floor it's basically RNG, but they actually do react kind of consistently. But really minor movements can completely change how the way this floor goes down, which is the issue. Also, I'm trying to attempt a strat, I didn't get it, where I can bait the guy down right there to come early, which just makes the screen go by a bit more smoothly, but it does not happen. And I have to, come here, and we're good, cool. Alright, yeah, so now, I mean, I should be finished in about a minute-ish, roughly. I don't know the exact timing, but yeah. As long as I get so this is the only skip that's allowed in this category. Actually, no, elevator warp is allowed, but yeah. Because we have to see every screen, so seeing as we stay on the same screen for this, so we're going to be going right through this wall right here. So we're going to go through the same thing. As you can tell, we've already been here, like earlier in the game, but now we're playing as Biker, but now Jack's going to come in. So it's like a reverse. This game is really weird in terms of story, if you haven't noticed from like all these things that are being replayed and everything, and all the trippy stuff. Right there. Yeah, that just saved 9 seconds. Just kicking through the wall, which is nice. Yeah. And now we're just going to be finishing up with the resolution. This level has no enemies. All it is just text. There's 2 endings to this level, but we're not going to do the secret ending, because not only did we not get I mean, we have everything, so if we just go into that computer, we can do it, but there's no point. So I go for the top 2 questions right there. So if you do the first 2 questions and the bottom 3 questions, it's the best end time. Sorry, yeah, that's time. But yeah, so if you go with the bottom 2 questions there, and then the top 2, then the bottom 3, it's a bit faster in terms of text. And also those ladders, you want to go at them straight on, or like however the animation plays, because otherwise you have to wait for a long animation. But besides that, yeah, that's Hotline Miami.
Yeah, it looks like that was about a 31:25, although I think we did unfortunately start the timer just a little bit late.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for that run buffet time. That was really cool. Always love seeing Hotline Miami runs. Like you said, there's just so much unpredictability and adaptation.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see it in motion.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So guys, just as a quick reminder, this is JRTA4. We are less than $1,300 away from our goal of raising enough money to get all 4 of our awesome Japanese runner friends over to JRTA, over to AGDQ this year. We're actually super close, and there's some really cool things you guys can put those remaining donations towards. Shovel Knight has a new game plus boss kill demonstration. If you guys haven't seen some of the like ridiculous strategies that the Shovel Knight runners have come up for boss kills, you're missing out. Let me tell you, they do some incredibly silly things to kill bosses way faster than you ever could for 80%. That's at $57 out of its $200 goal later this afternoon, so you should definitely get some donations in for that. Also, we have the Marathon Tradition donation, Best Anime. King of the Hill and Inferno Cop and Hamparo, we're all doing pretty well. They were all best anime for a while, but currently, Dark Terex himself is the best anime with $69. So, guys, I don't know if you think DT is best anime. I'm not sure he's anime enough. I think we might need to get some donations in there to dethrone him just a little bit. But with that, I think we're just about ready actually to move on to our next round. We're gonna have Ice Plug in here do an alias. I'm super excited for this run. This is a run we caught, 10 minutes of. We fell out of our chairs laughing, and we were like, we got to see this in a marathon. It's got to happen. I'm looking forward to it. But I'm actually going to be ducking out for the run. I got to prepare for my own. But I'm going to leave you in great hands, my great friend here, Hoishi. Hoishi?
Hello, hello. Thank you, Sent. Well, so we are going to ready for the next run. And meanwhile, let's take a look at the prize we have here. So right now, if you donate more than actually minimum $5, you have a chance to win Rockman 2 cartridge for Famicom. And yeah, the period of that prize is until for next 4 hours ish. So make sure to donate if you want that awesome Rockman 2 cartridge.